Hello there and welcome to my latest video. If you like the content that I'm producing, do please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot and motivates me to continue with the channel. The inspiration for this one is a message that came from a friend of mine just before Christmas this year, talking about an Astra that he bought from me some 20 years ago and still has. So, fired with that idea, I went and fished around in the devil's toy box and came up with this one. This is a petrol station giveaway in the early 1990s and has been played with quite a bit by my son and then passed on to me. Here's the original car, which I was driving around in the early 90s. It's a 1988 Astra GTE. So we'll get the case open on the toy. And this one was a bit of a struggle. It's oddly enough, as old as it is, it's one of the more modern toys that I've dismantled. And it's not very often that you see me getting the interior out before the base is off. It turned out at the rear of the thing, and I'm just peering into the case here now and loosening them off, was a little clip that held in the base plate as well as the rivet at the front. Just popping the steering wheel out now, and again another unusual to me item, but the headlamps are actually moulded onto the windscreen. So got all the parts together, give them a wash, strip the paint and primed, and off we go. I've tried to mimic the colour as closely as I can using a combination of Arctic Blue, Vallejo and Vallejo Aluminium, and I think it's a pretty good mimic of the original colour, which, try as I might, I couldn't get any, unfortunately. But I'm reasonably happy with this. Just building it up in a light coats and flashing off with a hairdryer in between coverings. Reasonably satisfied with it. I've lacquered it up, and now the next thing is to start dropping on some details. So first of all, I'm detailing the base plate because this one's from my own collection. So I took a bit of time on this one and filled in the suspension and the engine, sump, gearbox and all the other mechanicals on the underneath. So a lot of work for the fine brush and the big glasses on this section of the build. Just progressing it now and adding more and more little bits of detail. Getting pretty close now. Most of the bits are done, got the exhaust pipe coloured in. And little suspension trunnions underneath. There we go, very pretty. I think that's the most trouble I've taken on the base of a car. Blacked in the rest and highlighted the lettering, Corgi Astra GTE. I'm just starting to fill in the detailing on the bodywork now. Fender skirts on the front and rear, and the sills. I've put some aluminium fine again on the fog lights on the rear skirting. Hopefully it'll help the paint pop when I fill in the dark red colour later on. I think this is the again, it's the most kind of detailed painting I've done on a car, because I really did want to make it resemble the original car as closely as I could. Getting a large dose of shaky hands syndrome at this point. Last little bit on the skirt. And there we go. So on to the rims. I particularly wanted to closely mimic the original rims as I could, and the ones on the car were obviously a moulded generic version. So I copied some photographs of the original rims, and through a delightful process which is called in the world of card making and papercraft fussy cutting, I trimmed around the edge of them all on this self-adhesive paper, some vinyl made for making car stickers and the like. Peeled them off onto a plastic disc for a bit of strength and kind of extra thickness, and placed them onto the wheel. Bit fiddly, but I think all things considered reasonably effective, and certainly I was happier with them than just leaving them with the original dinky or rather original Corgi moulded wheel in place. So there they are, quite pleased with them. Out with the black velvet and it's assembly time. Four little, or rather two little clips that serve the purpose of the quarter bumpers, and a kind of locating pin for the interior when it clips in. I think this was close on the most amount of pieces that I've taken out of a saloon car. Detailed the dashboard, and I've painted a lot of the clocks in blue because the original one that I had a digital display on it. But the moulding actually was a series of square clocks, which I think was the later car. I copied the interior the best I could. All going together quite nicely. Clip the wheels in place. Quick burst of super glue just to make sure they don't escape. And as anybody who's seen one of my videos before will know, I just can't resist impatiently spraying them with the zip kicker to make the glue go off quicker. Oh, there we go. The very last bit now. Clip the interior, clip the floor pan in. And push the backlight section in. Got the original registration number on as well, just for the fun of it. That's the rear bumper, which doubly secures the floor pan at the rear. And we're done. Next stop, onto the rotary for you to have a look at what I've been working on. Quite pleased with it. There's a tiny crack in the windscreen which is a bit disappointing, but it's the best part of a 30-year-old toy, so I shouldn't really complain, I suppose. I shall certainly be happy to add this one to my collection. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and I hope that Mark, the current owner of the car, enjoys watching it too. I try to put these videos out about once a week. It's usually renovations on various die-cast cars. I do plan to do some slightly different things in the near future if you'd like to keep watching. If you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you very much. If not, do please consider subscribing so you can see what I'm getting up to next. Speaking of, the next thing that I'm doing is this little job here. It's a Corvette Stingray, and this one will be a custom paint more than a renovation. I've been Neil from Hellboy 59 Wetworks. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.